Welcome to the Watchman Report, world news from a biblical standpoint, the biblical standard on current events, on prophecy, moral and social issues. And in this episode, we explore the return of Jesus Christ.
Well, one of the most important things recorded in the Bible is that Christ will return. And the signs that we see taking place at this time indicate to us that Christ's return is very, very near. Look at these quotes that come up throughout the Bible. Repeatedly it is said that he will come again. He is coming again. Look at these quotes. As we move through the Bible, through the New Testament, repeatedly it is stating he's coming and his presence will be upon this earth. Now there's no shadow of doubt about that. He will appear. He will return. And repeatedly in the scriptures that is stated. Look, no less than 318 times it tells us that he's coming or he will appear or in some way it indicates that he will come to this earth again. Christ's return is certain and sure. When he comes, there will be absolutely no doubt that it is the Lord Jesus Christ. Look at this quote in Zechariah chapter 12. I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. What will they look upon? Zechariah goes on in chapter 13, verse 6, one shall say, what are these wounds in thine hands? Then he shall answer, those with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. And so they will see the marks where he was crucified. Well, when will he return? That's the critical issue. The Bible indicates to us at a time of great trouble. In Daniel chapter 12, the very last chapter, spoken specifically to Daniel and to us, it says to us there will be a time of trouble, such as never was. And in the next verse it says, many shall awake and some to everlasting life. So resurrection takes place and life eternal is given to many. Again, the same idea in Luke chapter 21, verse 25. So he comes at a time of great trouble, like we're seeing now. Here is the doomsday clock sent every year. And what does it tell us? It warns the world of a catastrophe in 2026. And it says it's the closest it's ever been in history. Unprecedented danger, they said. The doomsday clock is now 85 seconds to midnight, which they say is doomsday. So we need to be alert. The time is very short and the days are very dangerous. Well, now look what we're seeing happening at the moment. Iran has been for many years preparing to attack Israel. They have been building up nuclear weapons so that Muslim country can wipe out the Jews, which they have planned to do. As well as that, they have threatened Israel in many different ways. But one of the things they are also doing is they're aiming to close the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea, critical waterways through which oil is transported. And so they want to bring pressure upon the whole world and also upon Israel. And so, where have they begun? The Straits of Hormuz is the world's most critical waterway. They claim at least 13 million barrels of crude oil pass through it every day. 31% of the global seaborne crude flows through that area. And if that's closed, complete closure will result in a significant rise in the price of oil. Out of the Persian Gulf comes 20% of the total world's oil and 20% of Australia's oil. So it's very significant to us. I'm speaking here from Australia. But many years ago, we as Christadelphians had a very important writer, a Dr. Thomas. He wrote in the 1840s through to about the 1880s, and he said Britain, and by that he meant the Tarshian country, and which was a Commonwealth country, and later on he included in his description that it might well be America, will fight to keep open the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf. And he based that upon Isaiah 18, where it says, the land of whirring wings that is beyond the rivers of Cush, Persia and Ethiopia, which sent ambassadors by the sea. Now he says that those words are very poorly translated. And what they speak of is that Britain and America and the Tarshian group of nations will take maritime possession of the Gulf of Persia and the Red Sea. When he wrote that, it was quite intriguing. He said, I just can't understand how it's going to happen or why they would want to do that. Writing in 1860, he says, the only thing they get out of the Persian Gulf is donkeys and camels. But now look at it. Much of the world's oil comes out of that Persian Gulf. So it's critical. Well, America has been responding to Iran. And one of the things they're worried about is the fact that Iran is attempting to close that Gulf. And now the US Navy has come outside that Gulf, and and they're preparing to defend that waterway. They are also worried about the Houthis, who are down there near Yemen in the Straits of Djibouti, and they could close that. Out of that area comes much of the world's oil. So Trump has shifted a huge armada to that area because Iran is attempting to close those waterways. The result is, here's the newspaper yesterday here in Australia where I live. Here's the prime functional newspaper. And what is it saying? That we could face world war over this. So it's highly critical. If they don't stop Tehran doing what it's trying to do, it will cause utter chaos. Tehran is determined to use the Hezbollah, the Hamas, the Houthis, terrorists to attack Israel. And that is highly critical. And so America is trying hard to determine to stop Tehran, stop Iran doing that. So what have they done? Look, here we are, the 6th of March, only a few days ago. US claims to have hit 30 of the Iranian warships. As well as that, Beirut is being hit because, remember, the Iranians support 3 terrorist groups, the Hamas, the Houthis, and the Hezbollah. And their aims is to arm those people and to pay those terrorists to attack Israel. To attack Israel. And so Israel, as this has been going on, is escalating their attack, and they are responding to the Hezbollah, who have been attacking them recently. As well as that, the Iranians have attacked almost all the powers found in the Saudi Arabian Peninsula. They did that only a few weeks ago. And the consequence is huge. The result now is that the whole area could get closed down, and the oil coming out of it would be huge. The Houthis, another one of those terrorist groups that I mentioned a moment ago, is attempting right now to close the bottom straits near Yemen. Look at the headline to the right there. Just in, Yemen Houthis announced that they will start attacking ships in the Red Sea again. So could they close the Straits of Bab el-Mandeb amid this activity that's going on? Well, in the Bible, it says to us that that particular area, Sheba and Dedan, will change and show an alliance with Israel. In the Bible, it's called the area of Sheba and Dedan. Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 13 says, Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish with all the young lions thereof shall say, shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil? So when much later Iran aligns with Russia, they will oppose that power as they come down. And now we're seeing them showing an alliance more towards Israel. So you see, coming back to what I said to you before, Iran funds the Hamas, the Hezbollah, and the Houthis terrorists. Iran is like an octopus that arms these powers that they might fight against Israel. And so what's happening? But now Iran is becoming weakened dramatically by what's going on. Iran's aid may be greatly reduced to the Hamas, the Hezbollah, and the Houthis. Already we know repeatedly the newspapers tell us that Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Syrians in Syria, but that's been closed down, and the Houthi rebels since 2012 have been arming or being armed by Iran to attack Israel. And Iran has spent boggling amounts of money, 16 billion, to arm those opponents. But now are we finding, now Iran's aid may be completely cut off because it's being attacked by America. It's being attacked by Israel. It's being dramatically weakened. And so the consequence is that this could then lead to a window of peace in Israel. Now that's exceedingly exciting to us. The Lord appears to come to return to this earth during a window of peace. Look what the scripture says to us about that. Nearly all of the key writers, Peter, Paul, John, and the Lord Jesus Christ repeatedly state that. Jesus in Revelation 16 verse 15 appears, almost touched John on the shoulder and says, write this, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they shall see his shame. So he comes at a time you might not expect it, like a thief. Look what John says earlier in Revelation 3 verse 3. Remember how thou hast heard, referring to Jesus, I come on thee as a thief. Thou shalt not know what hour I will come in. He comes in a very quiet, unexpected time for most of us. Paul says the same. The day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. The Apostle Paul says, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then it goes on to say he will come. And of course, it's also referred to in the Olivet prophecy. Not in quite so specific words, but also it implies that very clearly. Well, what are we seeing? We're seeing Iran being dramatically weakened. And as it's being dramatically weakened, will it go into a mode of peace? It looks like it could. And if it does, it could lead to Christ's return. Be prepared. It's vital that we watch what's going on. In 2 Peter chapter 3, he wrote to his believers, who he called beloved, repeatedly. At least 5 times he calls them beloved. Peter says in chapter 3, verse 8 to 10, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which The political heavens will pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with a fervent heat, and the earth also and the works thereof shall be burned up. So he says, yes, it will be weakened dramatically, weakened as it is it looks like in a moment in Iran. But in between the final weakening comes the Lord. The book of Revelation also was a letter of love. Jesus says, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. So what's he telling us to do? So he comes suddenly and unexpectedly. He comes at a time when it looks quiet and peaceful for Israel for a moment. And he says to us, watch and walk faithfully. It's vital that we follow that exhortation while we have time. The days are indeed very short. As I said to you before, look at that newspaper that came here to Australia only yesterday. The worldwide war. Where will it end? Isaiah says in Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2, Christ will come and he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Well, hearken to what we've seen. It looks like it could be a window of peace in the very near future, with the Hezbollah and the Hamas and the Houthis not being armed, not being paid by Iran, who's going to be dramatically weakened, it looks. And in that window, it could see Christ's return. So be prepared and walk in that right way, and so find a place in his kingdom. Thank you.
Thanks for staying with us for this report. We pray that the video report has provided some clarity to the situation in the Middle East. We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and select all so you never miss a new upload. Don't forget to like, share and drop a comment in the comment section. We love to hear your thoughts. Make sure you follow our playlist and never miss a new report. Until next time, God willing, this has been the Watchman Report, bringing perspective to current world news from a biblical standpoint. Don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Drop a comment in the comment section and let us know what you thought, and make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Please share it and spread the word. Thanks for watching, and remember to come back soon.